Hi guys, you might have seen the video where I did an extremely complicated modification to this snowman, which involved cutting a hole in the bottom of him and sticking the bits out of a solar light inside him so he becomes a solar powered snowman. Now in the first attempt I did, I tried to swap the bulb, the LED light, from a plain white one to a colour changing one, and it wouldn't work. So I ended up putting the white one in there, and then in a later video I use these components out of a different solar light, and if I turn the light off, you'll see that one is colour changing. It doesn't last very long because I've only had it on charge for a matter of seconds. So it'd be better if we do it this way. Take it out, put some light on here for a few seconds. After a day of sunlight, it does stay light for quite a while. This is just enough to show you it's colour changing. So that tells me that that circuit board is slightly different to the circuit board I was using. Now I've had a quick look at the chip on it, and that does seem to be the same chip as the ones I've been using. I'm not sure if it's the same as this one on here. I would need to get my magnifying glass to check. Hang on, I'll just do a super macro shot. Well, they are both the same chip. So, the other difference between this circuit and that one, which is the same as most of my solar lights, is this one has got a capacitor in it and a diode. Whereas this one, capacitor and diode, and also an inductor. So capacitor, diode, inductor and battery. This circuit, which is the same as the one in my normal solar lights, is just the chip and the inductor and the battery. So the difference is this one is rectifying the current it's generating, and it's got a capacitor in circuit, and that may be enough, well it must be enough, to stabilise the output so that these colour changing LEDs can stay powered and go through their cycle. Because what I'd reasoned on the previous video was the actual output going into there is AC, or at least it's pulsed, and the colour changing LEDs have got a circuit actually on the LED that steps through the colours, and if it's getting pulses of power, it's probably restarting each time and it's going back to red or whatever the first colour is, because that's what was happening. We were just getting one colour, it wasn't going through the colour range. So I think that's what the difference is. The original circuit pulses, this circuit, the capacitor probably stores a bit of, or smooths the ripple, and possibly the diode also ensures it's just one direction, possibly. What I really need to do is rig that circuit up on here and put a colour changing LED on it and see if it works. Right, I'll just try and demonstrate what I'm whittering on about. So this circuit, just the chip and the inductor, running a white LED. I've changed the battery from a rechargeable to a zinc chloride, so it's fully charged. So cover the light and nothing's happened. Why is nothing happening? Ah, that's better. It wasn't in properly. Right, okay. So we're getting nice bright LED, 1.5 volt battery through that chip with the inductor is boosting it up to probably 3 volts or thereabouts to light up the white LED. And the solar panel's turning it on and off. Because in normal circumstances, when there's light on the solar panel, the power is being diverted to charge the battery. And when there's no light on the solar panel, the battery is allowed to discharge through the LED. Right, so take that one out and replace it with this one, which is a colour changing LED. It's actually a tiny bit of current flowing straight away. Probably can't see it, but I could see a little red glow there. Right, cover that over. Now, as far as you can tell, that's just a white LED again. It's actually the blue and the red are alight at the same time, but it's not going through its cycle. And that was the problem I was getting. It doesn't go through its cycle because it's pulsing and it's starting, but it's starting from the same point each time, so it can't go through. If I hold it on here, which way round was it? I can't remember. Probably the other way, I would think. Switch on might help. Right, so if I hold that on an ordinary battery, you can see it's going through its cycle. Whereas if we hold it or put it in here, come on, don't mess me about. There we go. It's not going through its cycle. So that's what we're talking about with that chip and the inductor on its own. It doesn't go through its cycle, it's getting pulsed. So it's restarting its cycle each time from the beginning. Whereas this one, when it's charged, is actually sending these LEDs through their full cycle. So I need to get a little capacitor. That's only a 104. I'm sure I got some of them somewhere. And the diode, I'll have to get my glasses closer to be able to see. Well, I think almost any diode might work, and modify this circuit to look like that one and see if we can get this working. Right, so I'm trying to replicate that circuit. I found some 104 capacitors, so that was easy enough. Got my light changing LED in there. The diode that I'm using, which is a little bit loose in there, is not the same value diode as that one. It's just a random one I had. That should be going through its sequence. It's not. It is a light, but it's not going through its sequence. If I take the diode out, it still works. If I turn it round the other way, we got, so that's the red and the blue instead of the red and the green. Oh, the green is a light in there as well. So all three are a light, but it's not changing. the diode back in again. Can't find it. Right, let's put it out entirely. Turn that round again. Yeah, that's just the green and the red coming on in that direction. If I turn it round the other way, which is the way it should be according to me. Okay, we've got nothing now. Have we killed it? Oh no, it's just that. Yeah. Take the diode out, LED lights, that's all three colours are alight, red, green and blue. But it's not going through the sequence. Put the diode in. That's switching it off, which is why I think I might have the wrong value diode. If I put the original LED back in, LED comes on. That's the ordinary white LED. And that's connected the same way that the diode would have been. So the LED's working as a diode, light emitting diode. Turn that one around again. That's back to just the green and the red are light. And the white LED's gone out. Turn it around again. And they're all alight. So, yeah, I'm a bit confused at the moment. We'll probably come back later. Well, actually it's midnight at the moment, so we might have another look tomorrow. And if I bring that back out, put it in the light, that bit's still working. It's got to be that diode, I think. Just an extra little bit for Jack. I mentioned in a comment to him that this colour changing LED would start lighting up whichever way round I put it in. It's not going to do it now. Ah, yeah, right. So it's lighting up that way round. Doesn't light up that way round. This is with the diode in place. The white LED lights up that way round. Turn it the other way round. It doesn't light up. If I take the LED out, the diode out of circuit, this doesn't light up either way round. But if I use the colour changing LED, that one does light up whichever way round I put it. Hope we can see that. So that one is lighting up off the current, I was going to say flowing through the capacitor. It's the capacitor that's actually feeding it, and the colour changing LED is lighting up in either direction. There is a slight difference. In that direction it's just the green and the red lights in it lighting up. In the other direction it's the green, red and blue. So all three of them are lighting up in that direction, which is the right direction as far as I'm concerned, and the red and green in the wrong direction. So that's something to do with the circuitry inside that LED. This one, the white LED, doesn't light up. It's not getting enough from that capacitor, but if we add in the diode to straighten things up, it's now lighting up in what I would call the reverse direction. That's the direction I would expect it to be lighting up. But it's actually lighting up in that direction. But it only lights up with the diode in place. And if I confuse things by putting this fella in as well, they're both lighting up a little bit. You can't see from there, or you might be able to adjust. But it only does it in one direction. So turn that one around again. Not lighting up now. Turn that one around and it's lighting up. So there's something in the circuit, in the colour changing LED, that's causing that LED to light up. It must be some sort of inductance or capacitance in there. It's totally confusing me, to be honest. Well, a slight step forward here. LED diode. Turn the diode round. No LED. Turn the LED around. LED alight. So that is working the way we would expect it, with the capacitor charging and discharging on the AC generated by that circuit and the inductor that's behind it. I don't know if you can see that. That's working like a jewel thief. It's boosting the 1.5 volts from the battery to something like 3 volts to actually light the LED. And it's doing it by charging and discharging the inductor. We've added a capacitor in there, so it's going through the inductor and it's then going through the capacitor, charging and discharging, and then flowing through the LED. Take the capacitor out and we get nothing. Just to demonstrate it is going through the capacitor. And just to reiterate, the reason we're doing this is to try and get the colour changing LED to go through its cycle. And it's just not getting there. It's only the red light there, that way. I tried it with higher voltage, that didn't do it. So I expect it's something to do with the resonance between the capacitor and the inductor, which we need to trim so that that will actually light. I've tried it with 2 capacitors. I've tried 2 capacitors in parallel, and I've tried 2 capacitors in series. So we're either halving the capacitance or doubling the capacitance. And either way, we're not actually getting the LED to cycle. Well, sorted it. And it was a wiring mistake, as simple as that. I just had one leg of the LED go into the wrong place. In fact, now that I've put it right, I'm having trouble remembering what I'd got wrong. I think, let's see if I put that in there. Yeah, that's what it was. I'd got, it's difficult to show directly on the diagram. I'd have to redraw the diagram. But normally the LED goes between 1 and 2. And then we'd modified it by adding this diode and this capacitor. And I'd actually got the LED going between, I can't even work out how this is working, but it was going from there to 1. I mean, how would that even work? Because the capacitor was going from 2 to there, and I've got the LED going from 1 to there. So it was getting half a wave cycle through the capacitor. Yeah, somehow or other I'd actually got focus on me. From there I was going up to there. I'm not even sure how it was lighting up like that, but yeah, it must have been getting half a cycle. Yeah, it would do. It'd get half a cycle onto there and then back to there. So capacitor would charge up and then it could discharge through there to there. Yeah, well, that was it. It was that simple. Stupid old Grandad had put one leg wrong. So if I now put that back to the right place, there we go. I just can't believe. Well, I can believe because I did it. I did it wrong. So if I put a bit of shade over there so we can see it a bit clearer. But it's what I was saying to Jack the other day, or at least in the comments. I needed to draw it out so I could see what I'd done wrong. Once I drew it out, I could see it. If we take that out and put the original LED back in, which way round does that go? I can't remember. Not that way then, it must be that way, yeah. Take that out, put that one in, and there we go. And if I turn it around the other way, we get nothing. That's where things were getting really confusing. Anyway, sorted. So I could now modify one of the little circuit boards if I wanted to, because the components on this breadboard are the same ones that are on the little circuit boards in the standard LED lights. Thanks for watching. If you want more information, check down below in the video description. If you like this video, you might like this one up here. And if you want to subscribe, you can check out my channel over here. Up here is my latest video on my channel, and down here is a video playlist associated with the video you've just watched. Thanks again for watching.